In diagram 1, we see a shot which comes up often. Many players will drive the first ball to the short rail and play the shot off the obvious 3 cushions. This technique only figures to hit the red ball full and drive it away from the corner instead of into a good position. Once again, remember that object balls are their biggest when they're near a corner. By playing the shot in diagram 1A, short 4 cushions, this enables the player to drive the first ball 3 or 4 cushions around the table to a high percentage lane. Hit the first ball 1/2 full with minimum 2 o'clock English and a short stroke. The previous example brings the player to position in diagram 1B. It's a typical 3-slate system position. The player needs a short stroke to prevent the first ball from rolling forward, along with a 2/3 hit on the first ball and minimum 1 o'clock English. Diagram 2 shows you another shot which is often played in effect backwards. Many players will indeed choose a 4-rail route, but the wrong one, sending the cue ball off the short rail and behind the second ball. Again, this knocks the red away from the corner instead of into it. The player has to be careful playing the shot in diagram 2A. There is a tendency to go too long on this off-angle natural when playing position. A 25 to 30% hit on and maximum 1 o'clock English should do the trick. In diagram 2B, we again have a big ball position. Hit the first ball 3/4 full with minimum 1 o'clock English. Don't forget the short stroke to keep the cue ball on line. In diagram 3, we have a shot which is played 3 rails by some and 5 rails by most. Where they misplay the shot is in trying to drive the first ball off 3 cushions and back to the long rail for position. That only creates a kiss between the 3rd and 4th cushions. Instead, bank that first ball softly cross corner as shown. In diagram 3A, we have a nice example of an extended big ball position. The player needs good timing and tempo to avoid a possible kiss. The cue ball must pass first to the second cushion. Hit the first ball 25% full with extreme 10 o'clock English. In example diagram 3B, the player need not worry about the cue ball moving too forward on impact. We want the cue ball to go a little long because of the position of the 3rd ball. By hitting the first ball with 3/4 full and applying a normal follow-through with the extreme 10 o'clock English, the cue ball will follow the path as diagrammed. Practice the shot in diagram 4 by focusing on the route of that first ball, 3 rails into the corner as you see. Using 2 tips of 3 o'clock English, your correct tempo and speed for the cue ball will come soon enough. If you use sufficient speed to drive the first ball 3 rails, you should have automatically enough to score 2. The position in diagram 4A requires an extremely thin hit on the first ball with extreme 10 o'clock English. This will keep the first ball close to the long cushion in a high percentage lane. Here in diagram 4B, we go right back to a typical big ball position. A half ball hit on the first ball with 10 o'clock English and a normal stroke works well here. In the shot in diagram 5, you're trying to bank that first ball softly cross corner, as a one-pocket player would do. Use extreme 3 o'clock English again and add a short stroke to help retard the first ball's progress. The position in diagram 5A requires the player to pay much attention to the exact English applied to the cue ball. The first ball needs to be hit thin in order to bank it across the table. If the player were to apply 2 or 3 o'clock English, it would cause the cue ball to run short. We need extreme 11 o'clock English and an exaggerated follow-through. And in the final example, diagram 5B, we have a perfect end rail position shot that can be played 4 cushions in order to bring both the first ball and the cue ball to the same end of the table as the third ball. Hit the first ball 1/2 full with minimum 6 o'clock English. This hit will send the first ball 2 rails to the opposite corner. Applying a short stroke will create a nice angle to score with the cue ball.